Hello, vinyl community, and thank you once again for tuning into Mike's Vinyl Experience. Before we get started, I just want to say I hope all of you have a happy and Merry Christmas this holiday season. Thank you so much for tuning in today. I greatly appreciate it. Today, I would like to go with you on what, in my opinion anyway, the most important and best audiophile classic rock repressings of 2023. Now, I plan on doing a jazz version of this in just a few days. I just couldn't decide. I wanted to do one video, but there was too many jazz titles, and actually quite a few, in my opinion, classic rock titles that I wanted to go through with you today. These are the ones I think were the best of 2023. My opinion. Okay, so that's kind of what I want to go with you today. And really the point of this video and the one on jazz is going to be, we live in such a wonderful time where we have incredible music companies, labels maybe I should say, audiophile labels that are repressing some of the best music, in my opinion, that has ever been done. Music from the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, and yes, a little bit into the 90s, and yes, some more recent than that even. But I just think we live in a wonderful, wonderful time, and we have a bunch of wonderful labels that are just doing some of the best work that I have ever seen. Analogue Productions, Mobile Fidelity, Speaker's Corner, Impex Records. I mean, I could go on and on. Sam Records, Craft Recordings. There's just so many right now. And we are living in a wonderful time, in my opinion, to revisit some of the best music ever done and hear it in better quality, in most cases, than the originals were done. I think that is such a remarkable thing, and I am so excited to be at this time listening to this wonderful music in such good high fidelity, audiophile type recordings. It's wonderful. Let's go ahead and get started, and I'll show you the 10 album, 11, 12, 13, whatever it ends up being, albums that I think are the best classic rock albums of 2023. The first album that I want to share with you was done this year in 2023, I believe in January, is the Rolling Stones in Mono. This is the colored version of the album. The first one, as you can recall, was a black version that was done, I believe, in 2016. What a wonderful set this is, if you're a Rolling Stones fan, and I have been a Rolling Stones fan for an awful long time. In fact, we have tickets to go down and see them in May at Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas. So excited to see them again. It's been a long time since I've seen them in concert, and I'm excited to see them, and I know they're getting up there in age. So it should be entertaining, to say the least, and I'm excited. What a wonderful group. The Rolling Stones. And this, of course, represents 16 albums in here. Their first 14, many of them, the US pressings and the UK pressings, are in the box. And I believe this box can be had for under $300 now. What a great bargain for 16 albums. And they're recorded really, really, really well. I believe Bob Ludwig did the remastering on this, and so this is a not only great sounding, but an important release for 2023. Next on my list are two records that were done this year on Rhino high fidelity. Now, both of these records were remastered by Kevin Gray, which really is neat. The first one is the Cars album, their first album. I have the Mobile Fidelity version of this, and I also have an original pressing of this album, and this is by far better than all of them. What a great job that Rhino was doing. The nice gatefold represents the original Great album, full of some of the most important, at least to me, songs in my growing up years. I mean, Let the Good Times Roll. This entire album, in my opinion, Moving in Stereo, every song on here, to me, was a classic. It was a hit. It represented a time in my life where things were just fun. It was just a wonderful time to have this album, and then to have it redone by Rhino and Kevin Gray remastering it, and it just sounds incredible. I've just never heard this album sound as good as it sounds now. Keeping with the Rhino line, this just barely came out on their High Fidelity series, the Doobie Brothers, The Captain and Me. Yet again, another important album, in my opinion, of a great era of music. And some of the greatest songs ever are on this album. Long Train Runnin', China Grove, Dark-Eyed Cajun Woman, Without You, South City Midnight Lady. This is just a classic, wonderful, not to mention great sounding album. The Captain and Me, the Doobie Brothers on Rhino High Fidelity. Great, great album. The next album on my list is a 6-album box set. Of course, none other than the Beatles. 1962, 1966, and 1967, 1970 contains their greatest hits. Of course, there's 21 additional tracks. This is a half-speed remaster job that they did. Includes the last song recorded by the Beatles on here as well. What a great box set, an important box set, I believe, if you're a Beatles fan. And I've always been a Beatles fan. I've got not a huge selection of Beatles albums. I mean, as you can see behind me, and maybe you can't see it full screen, but I've got some albums that came out in the 1980s, and I purchased them just to really display. I do have the Mobile Fidelity box set of the Beatles, which I think sounds pretty darn good. This is a nice sounding album they've done. Here again, I think one of the more important audiophile reissues of these two great albums. Excellent sounding, and I think, once again, a very important album for 2023. The next album on my list of Classic Rock 2023 reissues on audiophile quality type pressings is none other than the Mobile Fidelity One Step of Hotel California. Now, this is yet another one of those albums that represent an important growing up time for me. What a great album this was. If you had a chance to see the Eagles when they were touring and doing their, I believe it was their 50th anniversary of Hotel California, you would have saw a great concert. What an incredible concert it was. My wife and I had the opportunity to see them a couple of times, and they were just phenomenal. Having that gal walk out at the very start of the concert and put on the record, Hotel California, on the turntable, and then the band start to play. Wow, what a great album this is. And Mobile Fidelity, in my opinion, did a very good job. I don't have the DCC version of this, and I've been told that it sounds very good. But I do have an original, obviously, and this is just, in my opinion, sounds absolutely wonderful. Yes, that darn DST-256 step is in this process, but they did a phenomenal job with this, and so I can't complain a whole lot and deny the fact that it sounds great. This is a great sounding, and I believe an important reissue of 2023, at least to me. The next group of albums are all from Analogue Productions and the Atlantic 75 series. This, to me, is such an important series. There is very there's many of the albums that I plan on purchasing. I didn't subscribe to the series. I wish I could. I just couldn't afford it. I don't know that I want all of them anyway. But the ones that I have purchased, every one of them are totally amazing. I'm going to start off with Dr. John, In the Right Place. This album is a wonderful, wonderful sounding album. I believe this one was remastered by Ryan K. Smith. Just an incredible, incredible sounding album as part of the Atlantic 75 and the Analogue Productions. The next one that I have, of course, and I did a shootout on this, a shootout video, is Foreigner. Once again, for me, this was a growing up time of my life, and this album was so important to me. And to have the ability, and I, like I said, I've got the mobile Fidelity. I did a shootout video that you can look back on and see, but to have this quality of a pressing is incredible. It's kind of like reliving these wonderful songs all over again, and in such a wonderful audiophile quality experience. It's great. Foreigner's first album, every song on this album, very similar to The Cars, is a hit. This album was a classic, great album. Thank you to Analogue Productions and the Atlantic 75 series. Along with the Atlantic 75 series and Analogue Productions, Phil Collins' Hello, I Must Be Going. Now keep in mind, I just did a comparison and review of this album as well. Yet again, great music, great songs, great recording, great remaster. Oh my heavens. I believe this one was done by Chris Bellman, mastered by Chris Bellman. Great, great album, wonderful music. I can't strongly say enough how wonderful it is. Same with here, Phil Collins' Face Value. These guys are just knocking it out of the park. They're remastering these incredibly classic, important albums, at least to me in my lifetime, 70s and 80s. The music is wonderful. The mastering job is impeccable. Sound quality, it's just great to hear these albums and these songs in this type of high fidelity. It's wonderful. As far as I'm concerned, The Bad Company, I just got this a few weeks ago. The Bad Company reissue on the Atlantic 75 and Analogue production has been the best so far to me. This album was recorded and done originally in 1984. What a great gatefold. These guys are just killing it, not only in the quality of the remastering and the music, but the covers, the gatefolds, the tip-on type. They're just going gangbusters with this. Once again, we live in an incredible, incredible time to have these wonderful older albums repressed to sound as amazing as they do. I mean, Can't Get Enough, Ready for Love. I mean, all of these, and a lot of these were important songs on a lot of movies. As I was listening to this, of course, the song "Bad Company." This to me is so far the absolute my favorite of the Atlantic 75 Analogue Productions series that they're doing. I love this album. Bad Company, great, great album. The last album that I have today was, to me, the most important reissue of a classic rock album of 2023. And it just came out, I believe, about a month ago. And it is the UHQR of Steely Dan Asia. Now, I know there's been a lot of press, and you guys are probably sick and tired of hearing about this album. But here again, to me, this 1977 album, I believe, was such an important album in my time. This really, Steely Dan, and this album in particular, I think was the start of my journey into jazz music. I was a rock head, a heavy metal, definitely classic rock type musical guy. But this album, I think, was the first album that kind of got me turning my head towards jazz music. So to me, this album is huge for me. And then to have this done, remastered by Bernie Grundman, and to have this UHQR sound as incredible as it does. I did a shootout and a review of this album on a video as well. And I've got a few. I've got 4 or 5 of the, I can't remember how many, pressings of this album, because I like the album so much. I bought every pressing, darn near every pressing that came out, except for, I believe it was the Cisco version. I never did get that. I don't know how I missed it. I don't know why, but I didn't. But anyway, this album beats everything. I know for a fact that this will probably be the best and last version of this album that'll probably be redone. And grateful to Analogue Productions and Bernie Grundman for doing an incredible job, not to mention Steely Dan for allowing them to do it and to do the entire series. But this album, to me, the most important album of 2023. The music on here is just phenomenal. And once again, I credit this album, as I look back on life and look back on my musical experiences, to really opening my eye initially into jazz music, because this is really a jazz rock type of album. It's certainly not a heavy metal, head banging like I was into, Kiss, Van Halen, so forth, album like they were. And so this, like I say, to me, was the most important album of 2023. Great album. If you haven't bought it, I would definitely get it when they sell out. Gosh, sad day. But anyway, thank you so much for watching today. As indicated initially, I will be doing another video on my most important, at least to me, audiophile pressings of jazz music. Some are not represses, I think. There's 1 or 2 that might be new. And so, but anyway, the most important jazz records of 2023, we'll be doing a video on that here in the next short few days, probably just after Christmas on that. If you like what you're seeing, please leave your comments. And let me tell you how important those comments are. A lot of you have been suggesting albums that I could listen to, that especially on my recent jazz female artist list. Someone mentioned Helen Merrill. I've got that album coming from Analogue Productions. Thank you so much for suggesting things. This is how we all learn. This is how we get to know different types of music, by sharing our ideas, our knowledge with one another. So thank you so much for doing that. Please continue to write those comments in the comment section below. Let me know what you think. If you like what you see, go ahead and subscribe. I appreciate it so very much. And once again, I hope all of you have a wonderful Merry Christmas, not to mention a Happy New Year, but we'll be seeing you before then. But just have a wonderful holiday season and be safe. Thank you so much for watching today. Have a great day.